Yeah. And what about girls that are like yourself, are Mercy survivors that might be listening to this? Is there anything? Is there like a support group for Mercy survivors?
Well, we do have a website called mercysurvivors.com. So we are just starting it. I'm hoping to get forums up, and we're hoping that we can be a source for people to, tell their stories, which can be very cathartic, and find emotional and psychological support. And I would tell them to please come forward. It's not your fault what happened. It doesn't matter if you told people for 5-10 years that it was a good place or referred people there. We need to do something about it now.
Vicky, the whole Mercy experience must have challenged you on a number of levels. What did it do in terms of your Christianity, your faith? Are you still a Christian today?
No, actually, I'm not. It doesn't make sense to me what goes on there. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't really get this revelation thing where there's some God who's going to judge you based on what happens in your life.
The whole big sky bully concept sort of dropped off for you.
Yeah.
So in fact, your experience at Mercy Ministries turned you away from Christianity.
It was the first step, I think. I don't want to say that, it does that to everybody or anything, but I think that that's what happened to me. I had really I cut myself off from my family because they, were questioning what was going on there. And I said, okay, that's the devil. They're an influenced by the devil. So that's not right.
So this was while you were at Mercy, you cut yourself off from your family because they were concerned about what
Yes, my counselor actually told me that I should stop taking letters from one of my friends because she was a member of National Organization for Women and she was pro-choice. Right.
It sounds a little bit like Scientology, where anyone who is at all critical of Scientology is considered an SP, a suppressive person, and members of the church are told not to speak to them.
Yes, exactly. They returned her letters, and when she called on the weekend, then they told her I wasn't taking her calls.
Wow.
Luckily, she's forgiven me.
Yeah, well, look, Vicky, thanks very much for coming on and sharing your experiences with us. And, congratulations on, your tenacity in pulling yourself through this. Let me ask you about the bulimia. I mean, since leaving Mercy, have you been able to get the bulimia under control?
Well, yes, I'm doing much better. I think I did have a relapse afterwards, but then I went and got secular counseling. I had a really good counselor for several years. And since then I have had a daughter. So, I've sort of been able to focus away from that. So yes, and not because of what happened at Mercy whatsoever.
Yeah. So even though you didn't hear God's voice in your head, with secular counseling, you were able to get the bulimia under control.
Yes, I was.
And I assume that you must have had a demon of lust there invade your body at some stage in order for you to have a
I don't know. Who knows? But we actually had to write down everybody we'd had sex with in the past and pray to take back part of our soul that we had given them.
Wow. Well, look, it's, I'm very concerned about poor girls, both in Australia and the US, that are obviously going into this facility at a point in their life where they're delicate, they've obviously going through some sort of physical or emotional difficulties, and they're at a time in their life where they need proper support, not dark ages, mysticism, talking about demons and exorcism. I mean, it sounds like the Spanish Inquisition in the 21st century. I wouldn't be surprised if they start, burning them as witches.
Well, I want to say, do not buy it. What Nancy is saying about not knowing it, or Hillsong not knowing what was going on there. I met Darlene Check and I met Christine Kane. They were there. It was when they were opening the first facility. They knew what was going on. Right. They had posters made up of them all together.
And of course, the connection between Hillsong, for people who don't know this, the connection between Hillsong and Mercy in Australia, and Gloria Jeans and Mercy is very strong. Peter Irvine, who was one of the founders and one of the owners of Gloria Jeans, was actually the CEO of Mercy Ministries up until recently. I believe he, after all of this stories came out, I believe he's resigned as the CEO, but is still very much involved in Mercy Ministries. And there's actually, I've got some great footage of him too. Let's listen to Peter Irvine. Here we go. I'm going to play this clip.
Was fed, locked up, abused, or subjected to exorcisms.
Sometimes they will have a Bible study, and sometimes they'll pray together. There's no exorcism, no driving out of spirits. Not how the program works.
So that was Peter Irvine, who was the executive director, or I think CEO at that stage of Mercy Ministries, saying there's no exorcisms and no driving out of spirits involved in Mercy Ministries. Just a blatant lie.
Yes, exactly. And now Nancy is now saying that, she wasn't aware of that, and that they have fired Peter Irvine. I mean, he stepped down. But in fact, when they had their 25th anniversary celebration here in April, after like a couple months after the stories in Australia came out, he was at their celebration. There's pictures of him talking. And she just spoke.
And I just played video before of her talking about, not dealing with these issues through medication, but through casting out of demons.
Yes, exactly.
All right. Well, Vicky, mercysurvivors.com, is that the URL?
Yes.
Thank you very much for coming on. We should say, too, that Vicky Lucas is a pseudonym. You've obviously been reluctant to put your real identity out there. Is that because you're concerned of backlash?
Yes, I am. My counselor said she's worried that I might relapse. So that's why she suggested that I should keep myself anonymous right now.
Right. So you don't get the emotional and psychological pressure of a backlash against you?
Yes. I mean, it's been hard enough talking about it anonymously.
Yeah, I can understand. And look,
but thanks for having me.
Well, look, Vicky, I really do genuinely appreciate your courage in coming on in an effort to try and help other girls out there who may be thinking about going in, or like you, have come out the other side and are feeling like it's all their fault. I think that's tremendous of you. Well done.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to do anything I can. I hope that something helps.
Well, there you have it, folks. I've got some more stories coming up on Hillsong, Gloria Jeans and Mercy Ministries in the coming weeks. So I hope you find that interesting and useful. Don't forget, if you're new to TPN, to listen to the rest of the shows across the network, check out thepodcastnetwork.com. Get our weekly email list, which will give you a list of all of the new shows that have come out on TPN, the new episodes across all of our podcasts. We've got about 100 podcasts on all sorts of subjects. You can find the subscription details for that mailing list at tpn.thepodcastnetwork.com, or look in the show notes for this show up on g'dayworld.com.